Bring us in today, Sav.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the SANDCAST podcast brought to you by Kona Brew.
Kona Brew.
Right? Got my brew here. We got Devon Newberry here, my buddy from UCLA. So happy to be here. Happy to be chatting. Happy to be back. I haven't been here forever.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Been lonely without you and Try.
Like, I need my friends. But you had a good one with Haley.
Yeah.
That one was rad.
Had a great time with Haley and Zana before that.
And Zana.
And Zana was great because we spent New Year's up at her ranch. And so we were like, all right, well, let's just continue the weekend.
Yeah.
And so we
I
spent like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The ranch is awesome.
It looks gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
How's the chicken coop?
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Like Zana built it, like with her hands.
It's amazing. I know.
It's funny, like you look at Zana and she's like this cute person with this like really sort of like almost a dainty personality, and she's out there like scooping chicken poop and building coops and stuff. Was Zana on the team when you were there?
No, she left the year before I got there.
Just missed it.
Okay. Just missed her and the McNamara's and Sarah, but I got Sav. So
you got Sav.
It all worked out.
You guys have had so many good players come through that program.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty crazy list.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
No,
Our alumni.
We had a good run. I miss it. I was so ready to be done with school, like the school part of it. So I was like, I want to be done. And now I went to, they had some college event, well, I don't know what it was called, at the Manhattan Pier a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And no, more like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And I went and I was wearing a hat and sunglasses, which I usually don't wear sunglasses. I'm getting much better about it, but especially when I'm not playing, I never have sunglasses on. And I showed up to watch, and I felt so old. I'm like, I feel like I haven't been here so long. It was literally a couple months ago. And on top of that, no one recognized me. Not one. They're like, I didn't recognize you. You're not wearing UCLA stuff, and you're wearing sunglasses. I'm like, it feels like I haven't been here in like a decade. I literally had no idea who I was, but it was so weird to sit and watch them play. I was like, why am I not playing?
Yes.
Gosh, I miss it.
Yeah, it was pretty strange to
Yeah.
see you on the side.
I know, you're like, what is going on?
Okay.
Oh,
It's funny because like you guys can have the best of both worlds right now because Savvy's limited to AVP and the professional stuff, but you can do both.
Yeah, it's huge for us. That's like one of my favorite parts too about the sport is the summers of it, because it's like you just come off of a really intense season and then you get like a couple weeks break.
Yeah.
But not too long to where like you're rusty and stuff. Then you just get to go straight into the AVPs.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
And you guys are all like firing coming into AVPs because everybody else, that's like the first competition.
Especially her. Are you kidding me? This summer? Oh my gosh. Balled out. That was so fun.
The AVPs are good. I love the qualifiers too. Like I think a lot of people get scared of them now because like so many college girls are coming through there.
Yeah.
And just like, because it's you one and done. Like it's you walk into the day and you have no idea what's going to happen. But then making the main draw is like unbelievable. I couldn't imagine a place where like that's my normal.
Yeah.
Like you're just in the main draw.
Yeah.
But the qualifiers are crazy now. Like every match is tough from the very start. Because when I was like 14 or 15 playing my first ones, it was like you could get an easy one in the beginning, but not anymore.
Which it is so cool that you were playing in qualifiers when you were that young.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Me and Lindsey, we used to play, we qualified for our first one in Hermosa, and then we made Manhattan the next, or 2 weekends later, and it was like, we had no idea what to do. We were freaking out. I did not step foot into that player's
Those
tent.
are like the two best events. Oh
I was
my
like, there's
gosh,
no way
so
I'm walking
fun.
in there. Yeah, and then we ended up playing one of our old assistants, so that was weird for Lindsey. I wasn't there yet, so I was like, it's fine, but Lindsey was a little weirded out by it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, you guys played, I mean, even now you mentioned the tough draws. Like your Manhattan draw was brutal. Like you played, Charlie, Ekstrom, and Macy, then Ia and Lydia. Yeah. And then you beat someone really good after that, too.
The sisters.
The Van Guns twins.
Van Guns.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's a gnarly road.
Yeah, that was absolutely gnarly. And we had I had COVID, too, that the week before.
Okay.
So Delaney and I were stressing the whole week. I was like, I can't work out. I can't, because I was really sick from it too. So then we had like a 2-day turnaround.
Yeah.
And I went out with Megan Bergdorf, like, because we had a place in Manhattan Beach. So we went out with Megan Bergdorf, and Megan was just drilling us for like a good hour and a half. I was like, oh my God.
Was that the day before the
day before the qualifier?
Was it at the qualifier site?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was staying at a house right on the train, a family friend of ours, and I remember watching that, and you guys were just having the most intense practice ever. I was like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, I like needed it, because I did not know how I was going to make it through that next day. But Delaney too, I mean, she is like truly one of the best people in the entire world, and I stand by that forever. So playing with her after COVID made it a lot better and an easier transition, but yeah, it was gnarly.
You and Delaney together have like the most swagger I've seen on one side of a beach volleyball court.
Yeah, she's I just have such a love for that person.
So funny because off the court too, she's so just sweet and like innocent, and she gets on the court. I'm like, you're such.
She's
a star.
gnarly, yeah.
And she's only going like this. Like she's getting so good.
Yeah. Oh, I see big things for her in the future. Like every time I like get on the court with her, because like it's really a lot of players like underestimate people like Delaney, where it's like you think she's just gonna do like your typical like high line shoot whatever, but that girl is full of everything. Like even when we would play against her versus USC versus UCLA, it was Megan Murray and Jacqueline, and like every time like we knew what was coming, like we watched so much video of both teams, but she still like even though she stuck to the stuff, like you still couldn't get it. Like they were the gnarliest matches.
That's how you know you're good, when they know when you know what's coming and you still can't
stop. You still can't get it.
That's next level.
That's insane. Yeah. So
then we had to play them. That was so fun, but also the most stressful thing. I mean, like me and Zana were so. First of all, thanks Zana for asking me to play. For the rest of my life, I'll say thank you. I literally me and Abby lost, and she came over to me. She's like, "Do you want to play tomorrow?" I was like, "Are you lying? Like what?" So we go and we're trying to figure out how to split block, and we had to play them. I'm like, this is like the worst team to have to play, right? They're like on fire, and we had to figure out what we were doing. And you guys were so incredible. Like that whole, the whole weekend.
That was a fun first match.
Awesome.
Those freezes too, they just make everything fun.
They go forever.
Ever.
Your second match was insane. That took so long.
I like rewatched it back the other day, and I was just like pinching myself. I was like, because there was like the first set, we won the first set, but really close, like 24-22, something like that. And then the second set, we had the freeze, but then they got like 5 points, like in the span of 30 minutes. And then it came in third set, and the same thing with the freeze. It was brutal. But like you can't really be like sad after that. Like I wasn't like crying or like really upset. I was like just blown away. I was like, okay, you guys get it.
It was a great match. And you guys had like a big crowd because Delaney was playing right after that. Yeah. And so we went out, like I warmed them up, and then we were out there watching, and we were just like, all right, you guys were up like 2018 at the free. All right, like ready to go. And then 45 minutes later, your match ends.
I'm like, it's the first. I'm like, okay, that just happened.
It took a second. The freeze is so fun when you're down, and when you're up, it's like the most stressful. That's what I figured out this summer. I'm like, I do not want to, like, being up in the freeze. You put so much pressure on yourself to finish. When you're down, it's like you got nothing to lose.
Oh, of course,
keep coming back.
You're doing crazy stuff.
My opinion on the freeze varies every match, depending on if I'm up or down in the freeze.
Of course.
When I'm down like 14-6, I'm like, yes, good job, Donald. Thanks for that rule.
Yeah,
I'm up, I'm like, damn it.
Is that an Oura ring?
Yeah, I actually just got it the other week.
How do you like it?
Yeah, I'm undecided because I was wearing the Whoop for all of last year, but then I just decided to change, and then since I was in like. I was not playing for a little bit. I didn't have much to track, so I didn't know. But I'm kind of liking it. Just
big
the past couple days. Yeah, you're a big Whoop guy.
I like the Whoop.
I like the Whoop too because I just really like the way they show it on the app too. Yeah. I'm not used to this one as much, but I feel like once I like get the gist of it, I'll be fine.
And I think I also like it because it's the first one I've ever kind of tracker I've ever had.
Yeah.
I was like, it's 5.5 hours of sleep, I guess is not great.
No.
So once you start tracking that stuff, you start to kind of make the improvements you need to make. So I think I like it. I think if I started with a Fitbit or an Oura Ring, I'd probably love that too.
Yeah. That's what the big thing for me is sleep, because I could not figure out my sleep problems for the life of me. Like I just am a late night person. Yeah. And then I got the Whoop, and then it was like the efficiency and like how deep of sleep you're going. I was like, oh my God, this is not enough. And like Stein would always be like, if you're not sleeping 8 hours, your muscle recovery, this. I was like, oh my God, what am I missing out on? Yeah. So yeah.
And it's crazy because Whoop sends you it sent you the year assessment, and it's so disheartening to see like your average sleep. Like I was averaging like 6 hours and 33 minutes or something. I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
No wonder everything hurts.
Well, just because you're in bed for 8 hours doesn't mean you're sleep. That's what I discovered is like, and I get up to go to the bathroom like once in the night, and like even last night I went to bed super early. I was so tired. I was in bed for like 10.5 hours, and I slept for 8 hours and like 20 minutes. My score was pretty high, but like I had 25 minutes of deep sleep, and I was up for 2 hours. I'm like, why am I not? I can't get into deep sleep.
No.
So if anyone has any tips for me, like, I know you shouldn't be the drinking stuff There's so many different factors.
Yeah.
But like, I have such a hard time getting into deep sleep.
Yeah.
So that's why I ordered the new one, so I'm waiting to get the new one because it's a little bit different. But, so I have this. This is like the.
Oh, you have an
first one.
Oura Ring too.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
That's why I
realize that.
asked because I keep seeing people getting it.
Oura Ring's going around right now.
Yeah, it's a big new
I think
thing.
with like April and Taylor and everyone having, I think that like I keep seeing it. That's what made me get it. I was like, this is so cool. Like seeing them have it, and I can't play in an Apple Watch, or I can't play with anything like that. Maybe it's not as big, so I can maybe play with that. But this just made more sense.
It's actually it popped off a few times.
Really?
Yeah, we were playing this Israeli team that had like 2 huge jump serves, and anytime I would pass, it just like it popped it. And so I was like trying to like hold it and swing, and so I dropped it during the match a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's been fine.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be distracting, but now it's almost like something fun for me to fidget with.
Yeah.
Like that, and like my
Same.
wedding ring on serve receive, I'm nervous. I'm just like
That's what
kinda
I do
playing
with this.
something.
I'm constantly touching it.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Do you play with that? 'Cause
Yeah.
that thing's huge.
I know. That's what
big.
I was lifting weights today, and I didn't realize like this, and I was like going to do a hex bar, and it like grabbed. And I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that
No,
anymore.
it's
Yeah, it's big.
And I never wear rings either, so it was an adjustment for sure. But now it's the same thing. I fidget with it. I have a tan line now, so it's like I don't know, I'm more used to it now. When I take it off to charge it, I'm like I feel so naked without it. It's so funny. I've had it for a couple months.
Does Stein use some of the information, like your recovery information, or like does UCLA encourage you guys to wear that stuff?
No, he's kind of like seen them and thought that they were funny, like just because Lex wears ones too. But he has like big, like his actually big thing right now is like a lot of like mindfulness and like reading and like taking time to recover. So I think that's being pushed a lot in our team. And then like our whole team mantra right now is just like sleep and recover, because like the injuries is just crazy, and like especially when you have like a month break and then you come back, it's like everyone's broken for a week or two before you get going. So recovery is a big one.
It's funny that everyone breaks after a month off.
Yeah.
And it just shows you like you just can't stop moving or doing something.
No, you really can't.
Because anytime you stop, you just come back and it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Especially with the lifting thing, I feel like people want to come back, and at least for me, when I would come back, I mean, most of my injuries came from lifting, so I'd come in and try and prove myself and do something. I don't have great form, and I try and outlift whoever.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm competitive.
Yeah.
And then you get injured because you don't lift, you take your time, and then you come back, and that's always how it is. Like this time of the year, I feel like, and it's cold out, and you're never fully warm. And it's always
the first couple practices back, we had a couple girls out just like immediately, because I also think people like really, January is a crazy time for us just because we're figuring out partners and like you start really competing for your spot. So people come in and they just want to go so hard, which is like amazing, and like that's what makes our team so awesome. But at the same time, people love to go too hard, so we have to like reel it back a little bit.
Yeah, especially college kids. Like, oh, you guys are pretty much invincible.
Yeah, that's what everyone thinks, and then you're out for like 3 weeks. You're like, wait a second.
If something changes when you're in high school, I remember like going to all the CBVA tournaments. I would never warm up. They're like, you're on right now, and you go play, and then you get to college, and why do you have to do an hour warm up? Like, what changed? I don't know.
I don't know that either. It takes a while to warm up now. Sometimes, like, I remember when Jeff Alzina was there for a little bit, like, he would just want to get going right away. Yeah. He's, like, the type who's like, you don't need it, you just go, just go. But we do a long dynamic now.
Stein's all about the...
Yeah, and the bands and the... Yeah.
How's he been?
Which is good. He's really good.
I know.
He's, like... He has been, like, the most peaceful and, like, just positive person. Like, him and Jenny both. And Maria, being, like, a new addition for us... is so cool. I was really nervous to have her because like I didn't know her that well. I just knew her as Lexie's partner for this past summer. And
that's right.
Yeah. And I had practiced with her once in the summer, and she's intense. Like she just knows how to coach too, because we were playing like against each other in a practice, and she was still coaching me, and it wasn't announced that she was like the assistant yet. And I was like, dang. I was like, okay, like I need to let's square up. And then she comes out and it's announced, and I was like, yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I was telling them on one of the podcasts like a couple of times ago, when I played against her and Lexie in serve receive, she was going like this to me.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh.
She joined.
So
yeah,
gnarly.
She's gnarly.
I love that.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. But she's so chill off the court.
Super.
Yeah.
Super. She'll like join in a bunch of our practices, and it's the same competitive level. Like she doesn't like take it easy just because she gets a full warm up in. Like she's ready to go. She's doing her bands, and then she's in the game. Yep. It's really good for us.
How is she compared to Jose? Because they both kind of have that Brazilian energy going on.
They're really different. Partially because like Jose, like the blocking coach for me, like he just transformed like our blockers.
Yeah.
And then Maria is like just like her IQ level of the game. They both have like the same idea of like you need to have your footwork down and like this step's really important. This step's really important. But Maria's like super. She's like a baller on defense. So like. For our defenders, I think that's like really huge, but she's also like, she just knows the game so well and she's been doing it for years. So she's like overall a huge help. Like if you ask anything, she's pretty on point with it. Yeah.
It's so cool to see the coaching staffs like across all of the NCAA.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like you guys have Stein, an Olympian. Mm-hmm. Like you had an Olympian as one of the best players in the world as your volunteer last year. And then Jenny's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool to see, like, you guys coming out. Like, no wonder the college system is just producing these amazing talents.
Well, having Stein and Jenny, just to begin with, is incredible.
Yeah.
And then you look back at all of our volunteer assistants, and it's like, how did we get this? Sean Fallowfield.
I know.
I think it was
Jeremy K. Spear.
It was Sean, and then it was Jeff Alzina, and then it was Irene Pollock, and then it was Jeremy, which we didn't get the full season with him, which sucked, and then it was Jose. And now it's Maria. Like, it's just crazy. The people that we get as our volunteers. Like, how are these people, like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're so lucky. But then, across the board, other colleges.
All the other schools have it,
Gosh, I know.
How much have you seen your game grow? Because I remember, when we were in La Paz, when you were just in high school, I was like, damn, she's really freaking good. And then now you're like an AVP baller, like crushed in the NCAA.
It's so weird because I think that, like looking back, like in high school and in like my freshman, like the freshman year that I kind of had, it was like kind of like smooth coasting. Like I never really understood that like you really have to put in the work to like get results. Cause like I was getting off like looking back so easy. Like I'm like a tall, lanky girl. And so like I got off a lot. But then like we got into quarantine and I was just like, I remember I had a final meeting, like it was a Zoom meeting, like our end of the season one with Jenny and Stein. And I was like, you guys, like I promise, like I am going to work so hard this summer and I am going to come back and like get on my stuff. And so then I spent that whole quarantine just like in my backyard, just setting to myself or like working out every day. And then I came back and like I felt like such a switch for myself of like, okay, now I actually know like every single ball matters to me. And like every single like thing I hear from the coaches, like I'm like mentally taking a note and I'm going to think about it later. And like video is huge. And so I was also like, the difference too for this year is like I'm like the older one now, which is crazy to me.
I was gonna say
like,
you're in a leadership role now.
Yeah, which is so different than I'm used to because we've done like 2 years now of just like I'm listening to people like Sav and like I don't really need to do that because like we've got incredible leaders. But this year's like totally different, but because we've got a lot of young players and a lot of people, we lost like huge players for us, and so the new freshmen and sophomores are gonna have to like take the place and stuff. But it's weird because it's not like, I mean, we have Lexie too and Rileigh who like completely take leadership, and same with Jaden and Abby and Lindsey, even though she's out right now. Like everyone takes their fair share, so I feel like that's a big switch for us this year. Yeah. It's like new people taking leadership.
It's funny to look at you as one of the older ones because in my mind, because you were sort of robbed of what your freshman year,
my freshman year.
And so to me, you're still like a sophomore. You're still kind of an underclassman.
Eligibility-wise, I am.
You're taking a leadership role. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
You guys are so young.
Super young.
Do you have seniors?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes in and out because everyone gets another year. So
there's not one person that has zero eligibility after this year.
Leah. I guess it's just Leah left. Yeah, so Leah's our like true senior who's going to leave or has decided she's going to leave. And then we just got 2 new transfers. So we got Pawnee from Hawaii, and then we have Marley from Florida.
Okay.
So
how's she been? I saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, she's there.
Yeah, she just got here, and she is, one, the absolute sweetest person I've ever met in my life, and two, she's a baller. Like, she reminds me a lot of Jacqueline, where she, like, they come from indoor, and, like, they're these big girls who, like, just want to learn, and so she's just taking in every single second. So,
that's so awesome.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of, like, older girls, but nobody's who's really been in that position before of, like, having to, like, take leadership.
Well, no one that's been at UCLA since the beginning.
Exactly.
So no one's, like, been there and seen all of it. So that's definitely different, too. But I just think it's cool that you guys are all taking your own leadership role because like, being a senior and feeling like, okay, only the seniors can do it. Like, that's how it always was. Because, like, when we won, it was like Zana, Sarah, the twins, and Izzy. They were our leaders because they were the seniors. But then it got to, like, me and Lily and Matt, that group. And then they left. So I was the only one left from my class with Megan and stuff like that. But, it shouldn't be just the seniors.
No.
Younger people can take leadership role. But, like, I put so much pressure on myself to, like, be that leader because I was the only one that had been there for 5 years and all this. But it's so much healthier and so much better when everyone, takes care of their business and anyone can step up and be a leader at any certain time. I think that's going to be really great for you guys this
That's
year.
what was, like, a big conversation piece of our preseason because we had different people out at different times, and so
like Lexie was out.
Lexie was out for a while, and so we had to have, like, a big group talk of, like, the freshmen, like, you get to say whatever you want to say. Like, if you feel like somebody's not working hard, like, go up and say something. And so, like, I'll hear it sometimes, and I'll just turn around and I'll be like, there's no way you just said that. I was like, that's awesome. I'll be like, yeah, you're right. I need to run faster. So it's been good. Yeah. It's been really good. Like, Sophie Moore is going to be huge for us. And she's, like, she's a hard worker. So she doesn't necessarily, like, need to say anything, but she can just lead by example. So there's a bunch of different aspects between our freshmen too and our sophomores. Yeah.
So you guys are just reloading again.
Oh, we're reloading. Yeah. It was preseason was interesting because me and Lex were sitting out for a while because of our injuries, and then we'd be talking. We were like, "What is this year going to look like?" Like we were looking at practices, and we were like, "I don't know, like what, like." How strong we're going to be. Like, we were just worried about it. And, like, we really had to trust the process because we were doing a lot of technical stuff. And it's hard to kind of see a result from that right away. But then I came back, like, I was in practice this morning, and I was just, like, taking a second and, like, looking around at everybody. We were doing, like, a serve and pass drill, and I was like, I'm, like, blown away. Like, the difference between preseason and now. And now I feel like even in lifting, too, I was just like, everyone's just pushing themselves. So I feel like I didn't think so before as much of, like, what's going to happen. I had a lot of uncertainty, but now I'm, like, guns blazing, like, we're all ready, I think. Yeah.
It's been really cool to see the college game as a whole just get deeper and deeper because I look at your guys' lineup and I see at least, like, 6 or 7 Court 1 talents in terms of players.
Yeah.
But that's, like, getting across the board. Like, you look at USC, it's like, that's crazy. It's
crazy. Yeah. It's like you don't, like... That's another thing I was just talking about this with Rileigh in the car today of, like, I think that, like, it's becoming a lot bigger. Before it used to be there's a huge difference between your 1s and your 5s.
Right.
But now, like, it's so even that, like, in practices when, like, our potential 1s and our potential 5s are playing with each other, like, it's going to be a good game and it's going to be everyone gets better from it. And I think that's what, like, keeps elevating the volleyball is, like, you have players all around making each other better rather than, like, okay, well, the top 3, you need to go practice here. And the 4 and 5s, you go here. It's like everyone needs to go together.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
When do you guys have your first match? Do you know?
Yeah, we're supposed to go to Hawaii on, I think, February 22nd.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh, that's
okay.
Wow.
I know.
I wasn't sure because I know Hawaii is, like, super strict with COVID stuff. So
Yeah,
I didn't know
so we're not
their...
sure about it either.
Yeah.
We haven't really gotten an update on it. The most we know is that it's still on, but we don't have many, like, individual duels this year. I think we have, like, 2, but the rest are all
East meets
tournaments.
West? You know when that is? Because I really want to watch that.
No, I don't know when that is. I think I think I do know when it is. I think it might be in April.
Beginning of April.
Beginning of April.
I thought it was, like, first weekend of April.
Yeah, I thought it was, like, the 7th or something like that.
That's always my favorite one to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've never done that one.
I've never watched it. I don't know why I just said that.
I've watched it.
It's a plan. I've never actually watched it. But It's a plan. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My mom
so
actually came out for East Meets West one year, and
Really?
she just fell in love with the McNamara's.
Really?
She goes, "Oh, those pretty little twins are so good," and so she always roots for them when they're playing on the World Tour. And anytime they're playing, she's like, "Oh, I'd love to watch them."
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
They're fun to watch too.
they are.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with them?
They actually, one of them texted me and was like, "We're gonna be in town." I think they said January to come train. Like we'd love to train with you. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I'm the worst. I'll be completely honest. I'm the worst at keeping in touch with people. Like, these girls live 20. I mean, I haven't really been up here. I've been traveling a lot, but like they live 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I haven't been there since I graduated. Like, what am I doing? I should be up there, and I want to be up there. I keep texting them like I want to come visit, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just don't do.
Well,
like,
you're a very busy person too.
I know, and I guess, but that's something I'm not great at, and so it's something I want to be better at. Like, I just saw Sarah Sponsel training the other day. I'm like, I haven't talked to you in so long, and you were literally like, it's just we were all busy. She was in Arizona, like we're all doing different things, but I think they were planning on coming out here to train. I should text them again and see, because they did reach out and say we want to either train with you or see you at least. That was like over Christmas break, so maybe it's towards the end of January. But I think they're doing good. They're awesome. They were doing their little. I was just when I follow their Instagram, all their cooking stuff. That's kind of their little side hobby and stuff, but. Yeah, they're great. Izzy Carey lives somewhere. She lives in Torrance, I think.
Is she running for president yet?
She needs to be. She should be. She'd probably win. She's amazing. And then Zana. I mean, that was my senior class.
Yeah.
What a crew.
I know.
Such a crew.
A talented group.
Such a crew. But yeah, anyways, people have been asking me, what's the UCLA lineup going to be? And I'm like, first of all, she hasn't talked about this yet. We have this thing called the Band of Sisters.
Yeah.
That Stein created. You know, the Band of Brothers with football, whatever.
Yeah.
Stein calls it the Band of Sisters, where we're not supposed to give away, even when you graduate, you cannot give away any information. You can't tell your parents, you can't tell your boyfriend, you can't tell your friend anything about injury. You can't post, like if you post something in the training room, someone being injured,
you're done.
straight to jail.
Yeah.
Like you're in trouble. And that's just something that you
jail.
have to learn. Like he will not be happy, because he is, I mean, you know Stein, he's so intense and like wants it more than any of us combined. Like he wants it so bad. And people have been asking me though, like, what's the lineup? I'm like, even if I knew, even if they knew, they probably wouldn't tell me. And even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. But none of us have any clue.
Yeah, we
because
never
I went
know.
And watched that tournament, and I was like, what?
You
what
never
are they
know.
going to do?
Yeah.
It's
What are they going
always
to do?
like I mean, you remember it was like we did a tournament like one time, like the week before our first, or even like a couple days before the first game. And it was like, all right, okay, if you win this, your 1s, 2s, your 3s, your 4s, your 5s, like you go for it. And like partners get changed around like no tomorrow, like whether there's an injury or whether like just some people don't mesh and flow together. And that happened to us like the week before Pac-12s. And it was like really scary.
I was looking through your list of partners, and I was like, so you played a lot of the year with Lindsey.
Yeah.
And then you played like a couple with Cammie, or not Cammie.
There was, I played 2 in GCU with Cammie.
Okay.
And then once we got back from GCU, I played with Leah.
That's a tough thing to do, especially like new partnership in the most important stretch of the season.
Totally, and they could not be more different too. Like
literally,
like
so
Lindsey
different.
and Leah could not be more polar opposites as a player. And so, but not only that, it was like me and Linz were playing consistently at the 3s, and then it was we were playing the 2s. I was playing the 2s with Leah.
Yeah.
So I was trying to learn everything I could about that 2s teams from all of them, but. It was hard. It was really hard to like go from different partners, but I feel like once we got into Pac-12s and like especially once we won it, like I was totally fine. I was like, all right, this works. Like just process.
Her and Leah like crushed it at Pac-12s.
Yeah.
So we were like, hey, this is so good going into NCAA.
Yeah.
Like, things are finally settled.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have mid-season partner switches, it's like absolute chaos. Everyone's freaking out.
Across the whole board. Yeah.
Especially if it's not because of an injury. It's just like, this isn't
just
working.
doesn't work.
We need to switch something up. And it's like, everyone just praying it's going to work. And once it clicks, it clicks. Like, it's just the most exciting thing. But yeah, I'm so curious.
How are partnership decisions made? Is it like, do the players have a say? Is it like, hey, here's my like dream list of partners? I asked Haley this too. I feel like every school probably does it different.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's done at UCLA.
For us, it's like Stein will like have an idea in his head and it changes all the time. Like preseason, I think he usually has a concept of it. This preseason, he really couldn't because of how many players were in and out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even imagine how difficult his job was. But then, like, now I would say he has an idea, but, like, usually we all have conversations and, like, he'll sit you down and he'll be like, do you enjoy playing with this person and this person, this person? Who do you prefer? And, like, he's pretty good about, like, listening to you because usually, like, if you say you don't, like, you prefer this partner, you list your reasonings and it makes sense. Like, there's things that go on behind the scene that coaches don't really see, like, oh, this setting, like, I need a hand setter, or, like, I can deal with any set, and that's why we work together. And so he makes the idea, but you kind of confirm it for him. But, like, he's pretty good at it, and there's no really bad partner you could get at our team, so it's never really a big struggle.
Yeah. It's cool that it's collaborative and not just, all right, you two together, you two together, you two together. And
I feel like when I was like a freshman and sophomore, he'd make us write on a piece of paper our top 3, and it was this whole, like, secret thing.
Really?
And, because he has an idea, and you know what he's going to do because he's putting you with these different people. And you can kind of tell when he puts you with someone for, like, a week, you're like, okay, like, maybe this is what it's going to be. But, they're so great about asking, is, like, what do you think about this? And they want you to be honest because they don't want you to lie and say, oh, it's fine if it's not. Because, I mean, there's a point where you need to be honest and say this is not going to work. And there's also a point where sometimes you need to suck it up, and that's just the best thing for the team.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't like that person that much, but you play the best together, and that's just how it is. And, like, so you always want to do what's best for the team, and that's something that's hard. Like, when you're playing on the AVP, you're doing what's best for you. Yeah. And I think that was so ingrained in my brain is do what's best for all these other people and not for yourself. Because, like, when I was at UCLA, I played with, like, every year. I played in every spot and with, like, so many different people. Yeah. So it's like, do what's best for the team, but then you come out here and it's like, you're doing everything you can to better yourself. Yeah. And so I just think it's cool, though, at UCLA. I'm sure it is like this at other schools, but it's so everything for the team.
100%.
Like, we're going to put you in the 5s. Cool. You're in the 6s and you have to go beat the 5s at practice. Great. And everyone has to be okay with it. You're going to just shag today because we have a game tomorrow and you're not in the lineup. You got to be cool with it. And by the end of the season, everyone's like 100% bought in, even if their position's not ideal for them. Yeah. Everyone's bought in, and then we get to Gulf Shores, and it's like, you should see what our team does in Gulf Shores. Like, I mean, you can explain a little bit more of it, but
it's crazy.
Tell them, like, the drawing in the sand.
Yeah. So, well, I wasn't here for the original year. You were there for it but when we walked out, we had a saying the whole year from Jose, and it was like skinny dogs. And it was like a Brazilian saying that, like,
we don't know what the actual Brazilian word was, so we couldn't understand him.
Jose's been telling me and Tim that too.
Yeah. And it, like, really just stuck with our team. It just, like, made us laugh, and it also was just, like, fired us up. So we walked out, like, the morning of the championship game, and then the people who were not in the starting lineup had, like, spent hours digging in the sand, like, our mantra, and, like,
amazing.
Yeah, it was just
like in the middle of the night.
They're out there at, like, 1 in the morning, and then we're, like, sound asleep, and, like, we honestly, like, because I had heard of them doing it the year before or 2 years before, but I didn't really think it was coming just because I was like, what are they going to do? Right. And, like, I feel like I would hear of it, but, like, you hear nothing. Like, they are just out there digging.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then, I mean, the entire time I was like, anytime I had it was like 5 minutes before a match, and I was like, I'm kind of hungry right now. I have Maggie in my ear, and she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I'll take some gummies. She's like, on it. And she's running down because it was all separated last year. And then, I'm so excited for nationals this year.
Especially with 8 more teams.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
It's going to be crazy.
I know. I'm like, so what I've heard is it's almost confirmed now. Like, the first round will be single elimination, and then from that point, double.
Okay.
First round's going to be intense.
First round is going to have a bunch of upsets. Like, I just feel it.
Yes.
Because a bunch of teams are going to come in, like, with their first NCAA, like, championship game, like, on their belt, and they're going to be like, well, might as well. Yeah. And then they're just going to take out some names. So, but I think that's really good for us, because I think sometimes I don't think it's as big of a problem for our team right now, but there's been times where, like, you're playing a team that you don't think is as great as, like, or should be an easier win for us, and then we're getting, like, 21-19 scores, and it's like, you got to handle business. So doesn't matter, like, you have to play the exact same way you would play against a top team. Yeah. So it's good for going into the season to think that way.
Yeah. Would you rather be kind of, because UCLA, I would put, USC probably number 1 and UCLA number 2. Would you rather go in as a pretty heavy favorite to have a successful season, or do you like kind of having that little chip on your shoulder, underdog?
I love having a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like a big reason for Pac-12s of why we won Pac-12s, is because I think that we had lost to USC so many times, and so then it was like, we really have nothing to lose at this point. Yeah. And then USC had like just beaten us, so it's kind of like expected for you to do so well, and they have all the pressure now. Yeah. Like, I didn't feel any pressure in my game, and I don't know what the other people were feeling, but yeah, I would so much rather be second the whole time. Yeah.
You're such a cool cat, though. Like, I've never seen, you've never shown any external signs of pressure.
She's so chill.
You know, like, you were in high school and you were playing against international teams in Mexico, and you were just like, boom, super cool.
Yeah, there's definitely times, like, I don't like to, I'm not like I'm just like a louder person on the court. So, like, even when I'm like in big, I remember me and Linz played LMU last year, and we were down, or no, it was not LMU, it was LSU, and we were down by like a good 4 points in the second set, and they were gonna win, and like, we were freaking out for sure, but like, my freaking out is still really loud, so like, you won't be able to decipher which one it is. But yeah, I like to not freak out, and it's just, it doesn't really come to me that much of like pressure and nerves and stuff.
How much of that do you think comes from how long you've been playing? Because I feel like we're starting to see sort of another generation of beach volleyball players where you have someone like Delaney, where when she was playing, if you were playing college beach volleyball, either you had played like with your parents or something like on the weekends growing up, and like it was new and you just sort of flowed into it. You were on the indoor team, you played beach, but now
indoor.
But now you're seeing people who have played like almost their whole lives. Now we got grassroots tournaments, AAU, junior nationals, all this stuff. I feel like you've dealt with pressure situations for a long time.
I feel like for indoor, for me, like that was, from the moment because I went to Mary Mountain, so the second I got on the team, it was like, as a freshman, it was like, because our 2 best seniors who were going to Stanford were out. And so it was like, you need to step in, you need to take your role, whatever. And I was super nervous, but then I was like, oh man, like I'm good. Like I'm fine. Like I'm a freshman. What do you really expect from me? Like whatever. And that actually really helped, is like, but I also got stuck in that, I think, a little too much of like, I would set myself low expectations that I always like rose above them and was proud of myself. But I think that I've kind of come to the point where like now I really like having high expectations for myself, and like if I'm disappointed with myself at the end of the day, I think that's just a lesson learned. I don't think it's like something for me to be really sad about and like really heavy about. So I'm trying to like really raise the expectations, but I think that ever since I've been young, and I've been playing in beach tournaments since I was like 10 or 11. That's amazing. And it just was just for fun, and then it was like really competitive. And then I remember seeing Stein sitting there in an umbrella, and I'm like, why are you watching me? And I was like, okay, wait, I can really do this. So I've always we've always dealt in pressure situations because it just had the sport. So I feel like it's just like come with me. So it's like nothing new.
When did you start to raise the bar of your expectations a little bit?
I feel like actually, well, I think it was more of last year. I think I remember sitting down with like just like a bunch of different athletes at UCLA, and we were talking about how like I was arguing for, no, I think that you should set your expectations like a little lower, because if you don't meet them as well, okay, well, you had low expectations. That's what you expected of yourself. And then they kind of pushed back on me a lot, and they were like, well, then how are you supposed to like train, and how are you supposed to do all these things if you don't even expect yourself to do that? And so then I was like, it was like, whoa, you're completely right. And I started reading a lot too. Like I love reading like inspirational books and like mindset books a lot. And so a big thing too has been just like, I go to bed at night, and for like 10 minutes, I'm trying to like visualize like my biggest dreams and my biggest goals. And I don't like to think of like low expectations for that. So like when I go to bed at night, I like to think of like winning a national championship and winning Pac-12s and like just being with my team and like AVPs and stuff. So I feel like that kind of rose my expectations for myself.
It's crazy you say that, because you could see it, Trav. Like you could see the difference that she made from even freshman to sophomore year. Like you could see the transition, because Stein would get so frustrated with her.
Super
they
frustrated.
They would totally butt heads because he saw more in her than she saw in herself. And he was like, because he'd call me and be like, why isn't Devon, what's going on with Devon? And I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, we all believed in her so much, but this, I mean, it's hard when you're a freshman too. It's scary. Like, and you don't want to have the highest expectations. Failing sucks. Like, 100%. It's a part of sports, and that's something that you kind of have to go through. But you could literally see the difference, and that's when I said she balled out at Pac-12s. That's when I really started to see stuff. I was like, pushing in the weight room and like taking more of a vocal role on the team and like just completely balling out. And it's like she was always so good, but then she took the next step, and then you see it this summer. And I'm playing against her, and she's almost beating me. Probably should have beat me. Like, I mean, but it's just something that it's so cool to watch and so cool to see now to see you in a leadership role too. And like, it's a special thing. And so she brings it up, and I was just like smiling. So like, I literally watched you go through this, and it's a really cool. Yeah. It's a really cool thing.
Pac-12s was a big one for me, I think, because me and Stein butt heads like no tomorrow my freshman year. We were just always in a constant battle of like, I'd be like, I'm trying really hard. He's like, you need to try harder. And it was just back and forth. And like, I never understood it. And then, like I said, quarantine hit and it all made sense to me. Yeah. But then we had like, after Pac-12s, like me and Stein, like he went up to me and like, he was crying and like, he's a crier.
He is so such a crier.
So he went up to me and just like gave a little special speech to me and just like noticing it. And like, then it just like kind of clicked for me of like, I did make a huge shift and like, actually like every ball to me means something and every practice means something. And like, I'm also a big reason of, we talked a lot about like why we do our sport and like your reasoning of like wanting to try so hard and stuff. And so for me last year, it was just for my seniors, and it was for like, I know that this is their last chance and like this is their last season with us. So it's like every day I show up to practice and every day I go hard in the gym now is because like I want those people to like in the team, like because they are amazing people and like just so much love. But I want them to experience the good times too, like not even just for yourself. And I find that like that's something really similar with a lot of people on our team is like when you think of your reason why, a lot of people's whys is just for the team. Like it's not for yourself, it's doing things for others so you can experience it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
When did you see that shift? You mentioned it happened over quarantine, but was there something that caused it? You mentioned that you read books, maybe it was something you read.
I don't think so. I really think it was that final meeting I had with, I think it was like a big one actually. Me and Rileigh at the end of my freshman year, we played USC in Pepperdine on the same day, and it was our last game before quarantine hit. And we lost so terribly. And like I'd never seen myself play so bad either. I was just like, I did not know what was going on. And like I didn't really feel like invested in like the college volleyball life. Like I was like, I don't feel like I'm in it yet. Like it doesn't feel real still. And so then to have kind of only that memory to like look back on my freshman year as like the lasting one, that like really fired me up. And I was like, I'm not letting that happen again. And like you get your whole like life stripped away for months and you don't know when it's going to end. Like all I could consistently replay was like how many times I just like didn't like go my hardest and how many times like I just let these games slip away from me and like how when it's back, like I will never let that happen again because like you never know when it's going to be gone. Like I could have a career-ending injury tomorrow and like I will look back on this past year and be proud of myself, but I wouldn't have been in like 2 years ago.
That's such a cool awareness to have.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that you were able to take what is a pretty bad experience.
Yeah.
Getting your ass kicked is no fun.
Yeah, no.
And then you turned it into something so positive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Jose was big on it with you guys at UCLA, but he like won't let us end on a bad rep.
Yeah.
But you ended the season on a pretty bad rep, and you turned it into something really good. That's really cool. It's like a very mature thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys.
It's fun to be able to dig into losses and find growing moments.
For sure. I have like a hard time watching my losses. Like I usually like when I rewatch games, like if it's the last 2 points, I'm like, I cannot watch these last 2 points. But then I was rewatching film over the past couple months, and I honestly like watching the last 2 points now because I'm like, oh boy, you just wait till I see you again. So those 2 AVP matches I replay all the time. I'm like, oh, just wait till next summer.
Yeah, I love
it's coming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you full-time blocking or do you split?
Full-time blocking.
Okay.
Yeah.
How tall are you now?
5'10".
Okay.
I just got arms like no tomorrow.
I was gonna say,
my arms are really long.
Did you grow Like,
No.
Because I remember seeing you play. I was like, Devon looks like she's about 6'3" now. you have those arms and you're like so good at the net.
Yeah, me and Stein have very similar like lengthwise. Like we both sway our arms.
Stein's like
and
dragging
it's
his nose.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like I think that I always think Devon's taller than me. And maybe a little bit. I'm more like 5'9", but it's so funny to think about.
Yeah, Jose was huge for blocking for me personally. Like I'd always like, all I heard from coaches consistently is like, you need to press over the net. And like, that just never clicked with me. Cause like I'd try it and I'd watch the video back and I'm always like this. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know what's going on. But then he like broke it down like step by step and then hand by hand, like every single thing you could think of in blocking, like he's done and thought of how to get better at it and talk about it. And so we had like 5 months with him, which was just insane for our blocking team. And then we got out into Pac-12s and NCAAs and like people were just stuffing all over the place. Like Abby's blocking too, just fantastic. Same with Lex and like everyone across the board.
Lexie is a physical freak. Watching her play, I'm like, whoa.
Freak.
You should see her in the weight room.
Yeah, you should have seen her today. I mean, it was insane. We're lifting with we had like a bunch of like men's volleyball and men's soccer in there, and everyone is just turned like watching her deadlift right now. And I'm like, Lexie, if you break your back, I will kill you.
Yeah. You see all the guys like starting to load up their weight. They're like, no, she can't beat me.
Yeah.
No, because she would. She literally
would. Any day of the week.
Such a tank.
She's so strong.
Yeah.
The first time I saw her play was you guys were hosting, I think USC.
Yeah.
And I remember Tim Brewster had just like gushed about her. He's like, you got to watch Lexie. You got to watch Lexie.
Also,
and I watched
Timmy's
her.
the best manager ever, by the way.
Yeah.
I love Tim Brewster.
He's the best human ever.
He's insane.
But she like, when she like block loads, it's like all the way down and back up in like a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And like just huge active hands. It's like,
yeah.
that's a different type of athlete.
Lex is like 5'11", 6 foot maybe. Yeah, she's not like a big blocker, but I'm her roommate, and so me, Rileigh, and Lexie are all roommates, and so I see the way like Lexie like lives her life, and it is volleyball. Like, I mean, that girl is like, we're reading a book right now for our team, and we're like having a book meeting about it, and she pulls up and she has like 5 pages of detailed notes. She's highlighted, she's ready to go. And then like in the morning, she'll get there 10 minutes early just to visualize it and just to get out there and see it. And then, I mean, she's like, has the best and hardest work ethic I've ever seen in a human. Like,
such a good roommate to have.
Oh my God,
yeah.
You're like looking around.
Like a peanut butter cup. You're like, Lexie wouldn't do it.
No, okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah, we have I got incredibly lucky with my class because it was really scary for me going in because it was only 3 people, me, Lexie, and Rileigh, and Lexie and Rileigh were partners in Florida together. Mm-hmm. So I kind of came in and I was like, I do not know these girls.
It's funny that the Californian was the outsider.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is weird. But they, like, the dynamic between the 3 of us is just so amazing. And, like, Riley's such, like, a goofball, just wants to, like, have fun and do things and, like, also, like, incredible at volleyball. And she's a scrappy player. And then you have Lexie, who's, like, more serious but also really goofy. And, like, she is, like, a workhorse. Mm-hmm. So, like, when us 3 are all, like, because all we did last year was it would be practice and then it was back to online school. And we wouldn't really leave the apartment. So we would sit there for, like, 3 hours maybe after practice just talking about it and just talking about every single point, every single player, who's going to be this person's partner, who's going to be this. And it was, like, the best time ever because it was just, like, 3 completely different perspectives on it, just, like, having a huge conversation about it.
Yeah, because they're all so different.
Yeah.
They all get along so well.
Yeah.
Like, it's the way it works is just so funny.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's really cool to see how well you guys do get along. Because I think with a lot of teams, when you have so many people who are so good and so competitive, like there's bound to be people like, who are just in class and don't like each other. But you guys seem to have such a good bond.
Yeah, it's like, especially like me and Lex too, she's a blocker, I'm a blocker. So like, I was worried about that going in of like, oh, this could be like a competitive thing. And like, she is a competitive person. Like that's just in her blood. But it's really not the case. Like I've like, we both kind of have the same feeling of like, we've never, like, I want everything, like, anything Lex has ever wanted in her life, like, I want her to get. And she has that same for me and same for Rye, but it's just different because Rye's more of a defender. But it's the same for me and Lex. Like, we would just always share the common goal of, like, we both want each other to be happy. Yeah. So it works really well.
The team aspect of beach volleyball is such a cool thing. Because, I mean, you've discovered that it's not a team. As soon as you leave UCLA, it's one-on-one.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that was, like I said, the hardest thing for me. And I think what's made us so successful in the past at UCLA is the team culture. Yeah. And it's not easy. Like, and that it's just... Thankfully, I was in a role to be competing and be playing in Gulf Shores. I can't imagine how hard it is to be watching and not playing. But, and obviously there are people that have a harder time adjusting to their role. Naturally, I would be livid. It's just every single person wants to be playing. Yeah. But Stein has it so ingrained that like you're for the team, and so like we mentioned, it's to see how these girls act in Gulf Shores because they want it so bad. For the team, and it's you play for your teams, but you also playing for UCLA is like the most special thing ever. Like it's just the greatest school. So you're playing for all the donors, you're playing for all your friends that are watching, your family. It's just the community is so cool, and so when you get out here, thankfully I have so many great people around me, but especially like with other defenders out there. That's why I was so grateful when Zana asked me to play. Because I'm like, we're competition now. We were teammates, we were partners. Yeah. And now we're competition, and you still went out of your way to ask me to split block with you. And the reasoning was not just because I was the only option. It was, I see how hard you're working. I see the struggle. I've been there. I want to get you some points. And I think we can go out and have some fun. And I'm like, that means more to me than you'll ever know. Yeah. And so, but it is hard. Like, I'm competing with Zana and Sarah, even though they were like my sisters at school. Like, it's just, it's crazy. And I asked Trav, like, help, please. What do I do? Yeah. And he just put it, I think you and Tri told me the best, what was it?
The best ability is your availability. And you are like a living example of that now. You've done like 6 camps all over the world now.
Yeah, well, that's when I was living in San Diego, and they're like, you need to be more available. Yeah. So I was like, frack, okay. So he would ask me, it's like a Sunday night, hey, can you train tomorrow at 7:45? I'm like, I'll be there. Set my alarm for 4:30. I'm driving up here. But, and he just was so helpful with like, another thing you mentioned was like everyone's path is so different. Like you can't, not all of us are doing the same thing. We're all training with different coaches. That's the part I'm kind of learning is what coach works best for me. I'm also broke. Who am I going to pay to coach me? Finding a partner, like that's a big thing right now too. But when he mentioned like not everyone's journey through this is the same. You just have to find what's best for you. That was so eye-opening because I'm like, why aren't people helping me? Why aren't they telling me what to do? It's because everyone's path is so different. What worked for Zana or Sarah isn't going to work for me. We're all going to have different partners. We all have different skill sets. There's also, the timing is so weird with COVID and stuff. We're all going to get different opportunities. Maybe some blocker is going to play with someone and then it doesn't work out or they get injured. Hey, can you come play? Like, you just never know what's going to happen, but it is so individual. So, like, just keep appreciating the team and the culture, which you clearly do, and which everyone keep reminding people, like, and it goes. I don't mean to get emotional, but it goes so fast. I was there for 5 years, and I'm like, where did that go? All my 5 years ago today from memories, like me as a freshman at like I'm at a party, and I'm like, that was 5 years ago. Like these people, it's just the craziest thing. And stay in touch, keep hanging out with the men's volleyball guys. Those are my best friends, and just keep enjoying the process and. Winning is awesome. Those are some of my greatest memories, and I want that for you guys so bad. And I think you can do it as much as everyone's like USC. Obviously, they're incredible. Yeah. If you guys can figure out the right lineup, you can, obviously I'm biased because, but like, just keep enjoying the process because a lot of my favorite memories were like in hotel rooms with people, like with Lily Justine. Like those are like some of my favorite memories, more than winning because the win turns into a blur. Yeah. Right? You're like, it all happens so fast. And it's so crazy. So just enjoy Stein, enjoy Jenny, and just keep being a good leader, though. That's so important, and keep showing those younger girls what to do. Because you have 2 more years after this.
2 more years after this, yeah.
You're still such a baby.
I know. And I feel so old, too.
I know. You're such a baby still. Keep enjoying, man. I know. Wow.
It's been funny to see how old some of the college girls are. Because actually, this May will be like 10 years, I think, since I graduated college, and I was 21.
Yeah.
And now people are graduating college. Like, Julia Scholes is going to be like 36.
Tony Rodriguez, 7 years.
Yeah.
She was 20. I think she graduated.
She's older than Delaney.
She turned
she just
25
graduated.
this September, so she graduated at 24, which I think Julia graduates at 24 as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think Julia
it's
did.
getting
I think Julia's on her
crazy.
6th year, I think.
Yeah.
She's just older, but yeah, Tony did 7.
Yeah, because I know Tony had all kinds of like injuries and stuff to red shirt.
Yeah, she had like the regular red shirt, the medical red shirt, and then COVID.
Yeah. Gosh. I mean, more power to him. I mean, it's
Stay
the
forever.
real world is
Oh, yeah.
it'll be there for you. So
Stay
take your time. Get this incredible training while you
Yeah.
can.
I
I
know.
mean, it's amazing.
I know. We get really, in like everything, like you get the facilities for weightlifting and you have an organized schedule, which is super nice. And then like, it's like you get 3-hour window, go out there and practice. But if you want to do more, you can do this. It's, we get a lot of facilities.
Yeah. We talked about how sort of personalized you need to make the professional journey, but obviously when you're in college, you're still your own human being and you have your own preferences.
Totally.
How do like the weightlifting coaches in Stein, do they help tailor certain things to you? Because not everyone's going to respond to the same weightlifting program the same way.
Totally. Like for me, like my biggest thing this year is like Stein always tells me is like I need to get meaty shoulders, like because I just have constant shoulder problems because I'm just crazy. And so so for me it's like I'm gonna do some shoulder things as the team does, but for the most part I can't, and I'm gonna be in PT every single morning. And then there's other people who have like different back things, and like people like the Twin Towers, like the Van Winkle sisters, like they can't like like there's some exercises that they both can't do, and but they have other ones that we don't do. So it's pretty personalized, but our conditionings are all pretty the same for people. Like we just transitioned into a new conditioning phase where it's like we were doing the assault bike all of fall quarter, but now we're doing all sand sprints, which I think is a lot like super beneficial for our team.
The assault bike is
it's brutal.
The assault bike's just, everyone does it. I've never been on an assault bike in my life.
You
I'm
don't
totally
even try
understand.
it. You would have to pay me a lot of money to get back on that thing.
I gave Timmy, like he texted me the other day for like an assault bike workout, and so I gave it to him, and he called me after, and he's like, "Are you kidding right now?"
People do it voluntarily, and I will never understand. Like I will run in the sand for hours, sprints, dying more than I don't think I can get on a bike again. We used to have to do this 6-minute bike test where you had to burn, because on the assault bike it has like your RPM, which is how fast you're going, and then your calories, whatever. And so your goal was to burn as many calories. Obviously, the faster you go, the more calories you burn. Burn as many calories as you can in 6 minutes. So you have to find the perfect pace. You're going fast, but you're not sprinting because you have to go for...
Because you'll die out,
the number 6 is like ingrained in my brain as like the worst number in the entire world because we did it so long. We had to do it for indoor once. The team average, our calories had to be like a team average of a certain amount, and if we didn't get it, we had to do it the next Friday. And we did it for like 6 weeks, I think. Because like some people would just slack and get like 40 calories, and then a couple of us would try and we'd be close to 100. But it didn't matter. We'd go, and I was losing it on people. Gosh, the sand sprints are the move.
Yeah, I love the sand sprints.
Sorry about my rant about assault bike.
No,
I'm sure they're great. To the public, you might love them. I can't.
I think the assault bike was honestly more of like a team building thing for us this year.
For sure.
Because like we have a bunch of freshmen who have never done it, and then we have like us who haven't done it in like a year and a half now.
It's so mental.
And it's so mental. It's like you have to figure out strategically how you're going to do it and like how you're going to get through it. It's brutal.
Like how much arms are you going to do? How much legs are you going to You have to get a good balance.
Yeah.
You should try it once.
Yeah, you really should.
Yeah, you're really selling it.
It's the worst thing ever, but you should try it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know.
It's funny that you put Tim on it though.
Oh, I put Timmy on it. Because we would always complain about it over practice. You're like, oh man, we're so tired from the assault bike.
Yeah.
I think he always was just like, And so he texted me and he was like, I need to try it.
Yeah.
And he's willing to try anything. He loves workouts. He loves his practices. So, yeah, he tried it. I don't know if he did it again. I'd love to hear back.
Well, when you guys are talking about long warm-ups, Tim Brewster has the record.
Your story the other day literally just killed me. It killed me.
He's late to practice if he isn't there 45 minutes early.
No,
because he's still the last one ready.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been doing that since me and Tim have gone back from like 14. And he has been the same exact way. I remember it was USA HP programs, and it was like, I was just getting there, like I'm nervous, whatever. He's been there for 40 minutes, and he's like almost ready to go. I'm like, was I supposed to be here? Like I didn't get like a warning. He's like, oh, I figured since it started at 3, I'll get here at like 1:30, start warming up. Oh my God, dude. And then he'll stretch too. Like he's got a whole thing down.
When we were in Israel, this Israeli coach was making me laugh so hard. He was watching Tim warm up, and he was like, Americans, like, just when you think you are ready, they go.
That's so funny.
Every time we saw him, like, we'd pass him in town or whatever, and he'd be like.
Because Tim's out there on the bridge. That's what he was doing in your story with the next to the pole. Oh my gosh. Is he helping again or no?
They're still, because he graduated this past quarter. So
that's right, he graduated
there's
early.
like different rules for it, but he was like huge for us last year.
Huge.
He was all over video. He like anytime you can like get him to hit the ball at you, he was all over it. So
anytime any one of us played a lefty,
he was out there.
So
he
great.
used to play before COVID because he was there. I think the year before COVID too. He'd come practice with us.
Yeah,
because it was more. But then with COVID, I remember there was a certain point in the season where we didn't have to play. We didn't have to have a mask on.
Yeah.
But the coaches did.
Yeah.
So he was technically like a coach or something, and so he had to come play with us. And our trainer made him keep the mask on.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
man.
Timmy, pull your mask down. What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's fully hitting and playing. Like I'm like, how can you? So he pulls it down. Then the trainer sort of yells at him. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
It's right back up.
But then he kept going with the mask on because that's just what Timmy Brewster does.
That's just what Timmy is.
Wow, what a legend.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You mentioned you're going through, now we have these higher goals that you're setting. Do you have any that you've set for this season yet?
I don't like to set like too personal of a goal. Like I'm not the kind who like, I don't want to think about like getting an award or anything like that because it is such like a team thing. Like that's really not like close to my mind. But I think for me, it's something more of like a non-volleyball, more of a mental goal for me is I think I heard this so much going into Gulf Shores, but I did not grasp it enough, is like you need to be present because it goes by really fast, and if you're not, you're going to forget it. And I remember being in this past Gulf Shores and I just was not there. Like it just was a strange time with quarantine. It was a really tough year and like I didn't feel like all the way there. And I felt that especially when we were playing LMU, and I was just freaked out. And I remember going up to Jenny and Lee, and I was like, you guys, I don't know what to do. I'm just like, I'm checked out. Like, I need to get in it. So I think a personal goal of mine is like, every time I'm with my team, I'm really trying to be present and like practice that so that when it gets to Gulf Shores, like I am there for every single moment.
Yeah.
Because I remember, there's so many moments I remember from Gulf Shores, but like the actual games, like it's pretty hard for me to think back on. And like right when the game was over, I was like, man, I wish I really like was there for that. Like
I hate to break it to you, but I don't remember any. I mean, you're so nervous and like you're watching you're trying not to watch the big video that's playing the countdown for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, it is all such a blur because there's so much adrenaline. Like, as hard as you try, you'll probably be better than me. I don't remember barely anything.
Yeah.
I remember winning, kinda, but like, those games are there's so much pressure, and then you hear like the other team won a pair or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, you're trying not to focus on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, Stein's coaching, and you're like looking like this. You're pointing your glasses down, trying to look at the scoreboard to see like what's going on, and he's yelling, you don't look at the scoreboard. Because the only thing that matters is your game. You can't control anything else.
Yeah.
But it is such a blur because it's just. Have you been there?
To Gulf Shores?
Just like during NCAA's. It's really like just the coolest. It's the coolest thing.
Crazy atmosphere.
I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, you really should.
Yeah, I talked about it with Evan. I'm like, I think I'll go stay with you. And it's like a 2-hour drive from his house.
Super close.
Yeah.
From New Orleans. So we'll just the hotels are so expensive right now, I think.
Oh, I'm sure.
To book. Because my mom wants to go too.
Yeah.
We all want to go watch. We can't get enough. But that is a good goal for you, though.
Yeah, and I think a big team one, too, is, like, staying neutral. So it's not, like, when you're, like, in the weeds and, like, you're not playing your best, it's, like, instead of, like, trying to, like, pep yourself up by being, like, overly positive and being, like, okay, well, like, because something I used to do is, like, okay, well, I get 1 kill and, like, I'm back to being me, like, I'm so good, like, whatever. Or I'd go way opposite and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible right now. There's no getting out of this. It's just, like, state the facts. And it's, like, so the other day I was super anxious for some reason. I think it was because it was our first practice back and I was really nervous. And so I, like, talked to my trainer about it. I was like, I don't know how to shake this. Like, my heart's racing. And she was like, well, just, like, accept it. Like, it's a fact. You're anxious right now, but that's just what it is. Like, it's also a fact that you're about to go into practice. So it's a fact you're going to pass a ball. And so I think that's something our team's really trying to, like, nail down right now is, like, the mental side of things. Because we, like, you could play a good game of volleyball one day and a bad volleyball game the next. And it doesn't mean, like, the only difference is your mentality on it. It doesn't mean you were, all of a sudden overnight, you became a horrible volleyball player. It just means that something was off with you that day. So that's, like, a big thing we're trying to focus on right now.
Yeah. It's so cool to see all the things you guys are learning.
Yeah.
And it's going to help you transition so much, especially with the staying present as a pro, because you don't have to worry about 4 other matches or anything. Like, you're locked in on your
own. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to help you a lot when you make that jump. I mean, it's hard to say you make that jump because you're already doing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty fun. I love the AVPs. I'm excited for this season, too.
Yeah.
I just couldn't, like, I still get so nervous when people ask me to practice, and, like, reaching out to people, like, freaks me out. Like, I'll be in my car for, like, I'm, like, 20 minutes early, but I'm in my car just, like, waiting for that clock to hit so that I could walk up knowing that everybody's already there and, like, say hi and stuff. So that's also something I'm going to try and be better at this next summer is just, like, it's okay. Everyone's, like, thinking it and stuff, but yeah, pros are scary. Pros are really scary.
It cracks me up when you guys talk about that because Haley was saying the same thing. She's like, oh, like, how do we text people, ask for practice? I'm like, Haley, you've gotten a 9th on the AVP. Like, people would love to practice with you, and you still kind of do the same thing. Like, Sav, like, you're badass.
Yeah. It'll get easier. Right?
I hope so.
No, it gets better. I feel like now that I'm living here, I feel like I'm finally a part of it.
You're in the
once
community.
you have one summer where you qualify, like, you're in the players' set, you finally feel like, okay, I'm doing this. Especially, and that's, like, before we started, like, having you and Try in my corner is, like, I know, because we don't hang out that much outside of this. We should when Try's back, but, like,
Agreed.
just doing little things like this where we try and, like, they'll be talking, like, you guys are talking. And I'm like, I didn't know that about Travis. Like, that's the coolest thing ever. And, like, I just learned about them through this stuff, which is super cool. And so, like, being here more often helps for sure. And I like to train with people that, like, so I went and I played with Victoria Dennis, Emily Stockman, and May Craft. And I don't really know Victoria that well. I don't really know Emily, but I know May Craft. And I'm like, okay, like, I know someone. I feel comfortable. Like, Meg Bergdorf is there. I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable. And I think the more you train with a bunch of different groups, like, that's what I'm doing. I'm, like, all over the place. Different partners, different people. Whoever asks, I'll go, whatever.
Yeah.
But the hardest part was asking, texting people, like, hey,
you're nervous
I don't even
for
know
rejection.
You want to practice? And, like, usually they say, or no, I'm already with this person, or I'm not available this time, or maybe next time, whatever. But from what he's told me and what I've done is you just have to put yourself out there, and what the worst someone can say is, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then you just go beat him the next time you play him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's the mindset I have.
Fire you up.
You want to play with me? Okay, I'll play against you, and I have a little chip on my shoulder. Like, you
of course, it's good.
It's fine. It's okay.
That's a good thing.
Everyone's been so nice, and I think people understand when it's your first time. I remember I was training with Kalinsky, and I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so good. But, like, her coach, Evie, was so calm and so mellow, and she was so friendly. I'm like, wow. And it's weird because for me, I had never played an AVP until this summer because I did so much indoor. Like, it's weird when we're the pros because you could be in high school and play in an AVP event like Megan Delaney did and you did. And, like, so it's a weird thing to differentiate. Like, oh, you're in college and you're a pro, but you went and competed against pros and beat them. So it's just, where do you draw the line? They're kind of, in our sport, there isn't really a line, I feel like, because you can go play and compete with all these people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the funny part about our sport is, I don't know, I'm doing all these volleyball vacations. Most professional athletes don't do this stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's just such an interesting dynamic
Yeah.
that I'm learning, and I think just diving into it and accepting it, being comfortable with it is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've proven yourself completely. So just keep believing in yourself, and
Yeah.
if you want to practice with someone, then text them.
Yeah.
It's scary,
I'll
but
try it.
the worst thing to say is no.
Are you able to accept prize money now with the NLI thing? Sweet.
Really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Good
Yeah.
for you guys.
Yeah.
I love that that's allowed.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Do you have any sponsors or anything?
No, I mean, it's the same thing that like we were talking about earlier. Is it's like I think that part's really scary, like putting yourself out there on social media and stuff. And I'm also just like in my head, it's like, that's a future problem. Like you know what? If I want to cross that road, I'll do that later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So UCLA is your sponsor right now. You get
UCLA
you get
is
some
my
free
sponsor.
coaching.
The team first.
Yeah, that's
the epitome of UCLA culture right there.
Of course.
I love that.
Sweet.
I love that.
We've kept you here for a while, Def. We appreciate all your time. It's so good to
Thanks.
see you again.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm here. It's a bucket list.
Stoked to have you on.
This is
I'm
on
stoked
my
it's a
bucket list.
It's funny.
I told my mom, I was like, this is it. This is happening.
I love your
driving
mom. You
there.
gotta give her a big
Yeah,
hug
I
from me.
absolutely will.
Tell the parents we said hi.
We
They're the
will,
best.
definitely.
They're the best.
But is there anything that we missed? Anything you want to mention that we might not have covered?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered it.
Right on.
Follow along.
Yeah,
season.
follow along.
Yeah.
Well, how can we
Bruins.
follow you, and how can we follow your season?
My Instagram is Dev Newberry. That's how you follow me. And then UCLA Beach Volleyball. I mean, you'll see it. They're all on Instagram. They like posting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's how you follow.
Well, we used to ask kind of a final question to our guests, which is like one piece of advice you'd give to an up-and-coming beach volleyball player. But I would say we could kind of tweak it to what piece of advice would you give to a high schooler who wants to play NCAA beach volleyball?
I would say that to start your work ethic now. Like get ahead of the game. If I could go back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and had the same like mindset that I have now, I could only imagine where I would be, and I don't like to think about that. But if high schoolers started playing that way, like the way that they're gonna play in college now, I think that it's gonna up the level.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good
I
stuff.
love it.
Deb.
Loved having you on.
Well,
Deb.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yay, that was so fun.
So good to have Sav and someone back.
I'm
with
back.
Jeez,
Well,
back.
I'm going to Mexico tomorrow, but I'll be back in a week.
Adios.
Peace.
Mexico, man.